And yes, welcome to the second segment of the show. We are going to have a Zoom discussion on so for our big story, let's read on Ghana's decentralization agenda, a conversation with Andrews Bediako, former Administrator, National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, former MC German South. So he is on Zoom. Let's have a discussion with him. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Andrews, right.
Good morning, my sister. I hope you are fine.
I'm doing perfectly well. Yes,
Great.
sir.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. You have been very hot this morning.
Many, many happy returns.
Right. Indeed, Mr. Bediako, yes, the studio earlier was a bit heated, but we hope this particular one will not have that same momentum. So let's just get straight into the conversation. There's been a lot of talk about the need for the entire governance process to be decentralized in a manner where authority is distributed evenly across all spheres. Just for a start, do you think that in the very first place it's a possibility that we can have in our governance space? Do you think that we can move it practically from the talk into our operational affairs as a country? Is it possible in the first place, effective decentralization?
Thank you very much, my brother and my sister. I think the Constitution of Ghana, the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, if you look at chapter 20 of the Constitution actually talks about decentralization at the local level. And I think because we have all agreed as Ghanaians that this is the Constitution that we are working with, definitely we must make sure whatever we have in the Constitution is implemented. Therefore, decentralization is part of our 1992 Constitution, and we have no other option than to implement it. If you look at the Local Governance Act, the 2016 as amended, Act 936, actually is designed based on the Constitution that our Parliament has also designed this Local Governance Act to make sure the 1992 Constitution is implemented on the basis of the decentralization to the latter. And if we look at all these things, all these laws, actually we are looking at how best we can implement our decentralization agenda as we have in Ghana. But the question is, which part of the decentralization aspect as we are talking about? We have the political decentralization where power is transferred from the national level to the local level. Actually, normally, if you look at that aspect of our Constitution or the Local Governance Act, we have done a lot in that perspective. Then we talk about physical decentralization, where resources are also transferred from the national level to the local level. We have implemented to some part. Then we talk about the administrative decentralization, where staff are being transferred to the local level to implement policies of government or the country. And if you look at all these aspects, then we have also agreed that we are going to work with economic decentralization, where we are talking about the local economic development. And we are looking at the resources that we have at the local level, how we are making sure these resources are utilized to the local people or to the benefit of the local people. If you look at all these aspects that I have spoken about, what we are lacking most of the time is the physical decentralization. But I must commend this government. If you look at how they are able to transfer resources to the local level, I think we need to commend them, and we have to make sure they continue in that aspect, because the finance minister and even the president has told us that they are working to make sure they transfer 80%, at least 80% of the District Assembly's common fund to the local level for the needed development. And I think they've done quite well as we speak now. But I was told, per my last checks, if you look at the third quarter of the District Assembly's Common Fund, we were all thinking that even the finance minister told us that the monies have been transferred to the assemblies. But per my last checks, it is not accurate. So if they are able to complete that cycle, I think we are heading towards something that I think our decentralization, we are making it more meaningful.
Right. One of the conversations or the suggestions that has come to the table within the broader discourse of decentralization is the call for MMDCEs to be elected. The proponents of that suggestion have argued that if we do it that way, we're going to see increased results. But of course, there are those who have also said that it would be fatal in developmental aspirations, because then we lift some of the excesses of politics into development at a local level. What's your stance on that particular debate?
Yeah, I think what we have all agreed to do is the elections of MMDCEs. I think, especially when we are talking about all of us, we are talking about the political actors, the MPP and the NDC, all the time that we normally see. But the issue now is the question that some of us are asking is that how are we going to do it? Are we going to do it based on partisan level or non-partisan? That is where the question is. Because I quite remember in 2018, the then administration, President Akufo-Addo, decided that this is part of my powers in the Constitution. If you look at the 243 of the Constitution, clearly there must be a district chief executive per the law. Everybody is a district chief executive. There must be a district chief executive, and that person must be appointed by the president. So the president then decided that this is a power that I have, but let me give it to the people, so that the people will have opportunity to elect their own MMDCEs. The process started. Some of us were part of it at IDEC level, at CDD level, and all of that. So I'm happy that Professor H. Kwasi Prempeh was in charge of the amendment to our Constitution, the commission. He was in charge. So I read through, and my question is that how are we going to do it? Are we going to have it partisan or non-partisan? Because for whatever is on the ground now, everybody agrees that we have to have our MMDCEs elected so that they will be accountable to the people instead of the president. But the question has to be, the last one that we wanted to do, the NDC was for non-partisan, and the MPP was for partisanship. So, per what we have now, how are we going to do it? Because, my brother, the understanding, the idea, and the reality on the ground is that though when you get to every assembly, the only appointed person that we normally look at is the other MMDCE, and the rest, these are staff that have been transferred from the local government service to the assemblies. But the key actors at the assembly are our assembly members. And I can tell you for a fact, this assembly impaired the Constitution, Article 55.3, that political parties are not supposed to be part of our decentralization at the local level when it comes to election of MMDCEs. But my brother, we are just lying to ourselves. I'm telling you, when you get to the assembly, even the political parties, MPP and DC, they go for primaries at the electoral area to elect somebody to be the assembly member before the election. But when we come, why is it that the question I always ask myself, what is it that immediately after our district assembly elections, the NDC will organize a press conference and tell you out of the 9,000 something electoral units that we have in Ghana, we won 5,000. Then MPP will also come, oh, it is never true. Out of this 9,000, we also won 6,000. So why are we lying to ourselves? So the elections for the MMDCEs is no in doubt. All of us, all the political parties accept that.
Right.
But my question is, how are we going to have it?
Right.
Now, is it going to be partisan or non-partisan? That is where the problem is now.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bediako. But in all that, let's look at this aspect of decentralization. How has decentralization improved the country's development? And as far as all the three types are concerned, the administrative aspect, the political aspect, the economic aspect, where does Ghana's strength lies most?
I think we have improved. We have improved, and the decentralization also has helped our local people. Actually, what some of us think must be done and must be done well is the election of MMDCEs, other partisan or non-partisan. We have to focus our discussions on that, so that the person elected will be accountable to the local people. Because if the person is accountable to the local people, definitely their development. Because when you get to the assembly members approve budgets and the action plans of the assembly alone, and these action plans and the budgets are coming from the local people themselves.
Mr. Bediako, not to cut you. Mr. Bediako, not to cut you, but talking about the partisan election of MMDC, still on the same tangent anyway, I'm curious, what is going to happen if peradventure, let's assume that in a particular enclave, somebody is elected on the party's ticket, but that party is not in power? You don't think that would be a crisis that we will have to deal with?
No. I don't think so. You see, we need to have people. So the question I always ask myself is that when we have the presidency being a political, we elect our president. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Then we elect our members of parliament. Member of parliament for currently my constituency, Jamai South, we have the only MP representing the MPP in the Bron region. But that doesn't mean that the central government, what the central government is supposed to do for the people of Jamai South, the central government will not do it. They will do it. You see, because the idea is that if a government is in power and the MMDCE is not from that government, that will even make you more responsible as an MMDCE. You are working for the people to know that, oh, this person, when his government is in power, definitely they can do a lot for the people. So the people will always give you the opportunity to serve them. So anybody who will say, okay, if my government is not in power and I have the MC will not develop the area. No. Every political actor knows that if you are able to perform well, the people will continue to have the opportunity or to have faith in you and confidence in you to, elect you again. And every political actor knows that when I'm elected, definitely I want to move forward. Either I will become a member of parliament or my party will win the next general elections. So that person will work perfectly for the people. It is about the people, but not you as an individual. So I don't agree to that. Because we have MPs who are not from the same political party and they are performing. What is it that if we have an MMDC who is not from the same political party that is in power, that MDC cannot perform? No, I don't agree to
that. So you don't think that there can be any sabotage, stifling whatsoever? It's not a possibility for you in your books?
If you are,
because I'm bringing that in, I'm bringing that in because there have been stories of members of parliament whose constituencies have remained undeveloped, or they don't get a certain share of the developmental cake because their parties are not in power. If we extend all of this now to the very local levels, you still think that we'll be able to make progress?
You see, the whole idea that, as I told you, every political actor will want to move forward as an actor. And if you want to sabotage your people, or the central government will want to sabotage you, definitely we will have other areas. And those areas, you see, when we are able to strengthen our assemblies and they are able to generate more, they are able to generate, the internally generated fund is improved. Definitely, they will not even be relying on the central government distant funds. But because you are also aware that the next elections is ahead of you, and you are supposed to work for the people to know that this person performed creditably well. I can tell you, if we are able to leave some of the immediate past MMDCs to go and contest in their areas, as compared to somebody who has been in power for just 1 year, the one who just left power is going to win the election. I'm telling you, because of the issues, how the person was able to address the issues at the local level, how the person was able to relate with the people at the local level and all those things. The people still have confidence in that person. So it is about how you develop yourself, how you associate yourself with the people, how you are going to work diligently for the people, and the people will continue to have confidence in you. As most of the you go to some places in Volta region or Ashanti region where MPP is not strong or NDC is not strong, but the MP at that area is always winning elections. What have we asked ourselves why the MP is always winning elections?
All right, Mr. Bediako, that point is well noted. Let's narrow the conversation to the subject of, if you like, security. I mean, security across the local communities. Let's narrow it down to security. There have been concerns over a certain period about how that sometimes even central, or if you like, the national security architecture, for example, does not extend to the various localities. It's also an issue that has come up within the broader, again, decentralization conversation. Do you think it is something that we can meaningfully adjust? Because, for example, if you look at even the police to citizen ratio in the country, if you do that profiling and estimation, you realize that it's very minimal. If we are decentralizing and we say we want to focus on that as well, is it a possibility? Because sometimes you go to some of the communities. I've had the chance to be traveling, up and down in the year gone by, and you go to some of the communities and realize that even some of their police stations are not being well equipped, they are not being well resourced, they are not being well manned, and all of that. Any pathway out of that situation?
My brother, you see, there is no way we can have every system that is perfect across the country or all sectors. There is no way, but we need to work towards wherever we have seen that we have challenges at that level and all those kind of things. For example, people have argued that if we have MMDCEs elected and on partisan basis, as we were discussing earlier on, definitely, if you look at the law, it says that the MMDCEs are the head of security in the district. So if the person is not coming from the central government or the power that be, those who are in power, definitely the person cannot. So my argument has been that let us amend the law. When we amend the law, let's make the district police commanders heads of the security at the district level. Because when we are going for elections, definitely all the time what we see that we have election task force in every district. This election task force is always being chaired by, the committee is always being chaired by the district police commander, not even the MC or the DC. But the only thing that they do is they will present their budget to you and all those kind of things. Then you look at it, how best you can finance their budget and all those kind of things. But those who are in charge during elections are the district police commanders. So why can't we amend our laws to make sure that the MMDCEs are no more going to be heads of security at the district level, but the district police commanders who are always in the system? So if we are able to amend the law, definitely it will reflect on the ideas and the decisions that we are looking at. Unlike all the time that we say, okay, the regional minister being the head of security in the region, and the district chief executive is the head of security at the district level. That's why sometimes people also feel that the MMDC, because they are not coming from their political party, they don't treat them fairly. But they have confidence in the district police commanders. So let us amend the law, make sure the district police commanders are heads of security at the district level instead of the MMDC.
So apart from reforming the law and having DCs elected, in your opinion, if you had a full power to reform decentralization, what would be your first target? What would be your first aim?
The reform will start from the election of MMDCs. That's my first point. That is the way to go. Because, my sister, even those who came to borrow decentralization or learn decentralization from Ghana are currently ahead of us, and they are having their MMDCs elected. Because if we want the MMDCs to be responsible, and if we want the MMDCs always in touch with the people, and the people have confidence in the MMDCs, I think the best way to go at our reform level should be the election of MMDCs. That's the first thing to do. And the next one that we have to do is that government or central government must always leave the assemblies or the districts to work with their budgets, not budget from the central government, the local level. Because as I said initially, I commend the government for transferring 80% of the resources to the assemblies. But at the same time, government has given them guidelines to work with, which I disagree. Because all these assemblies have their own budget. The budget emanates from the local level, from the electoral area, from the unit committee level. Because before an assembly will come out with an action plan, they go to these areas, all the district, all the communities within the district to solicit for their views and their needs. So you do what we call the needs assessment. And this needs assessment is what we use in drafting the action plan, the annual action plan, and before you come to the budget. But you sit at the assembly at the local level, then government will bring you guidelines. This is the money that we are giving you. 20% should go to sanitation, 30% should go to projects that are uncompleted, 20% should go to this and that. Meanwhile, the assemblies already have their budgets. Why the assemblies are not allowed to work with their budget? And I think that is a problem. So we should allow the assemblies to work with their action plans and to work with their budgets. That is the needs of the local people, but not central government.
And you think by electing them, the people are not really going to read meanings, political meanings into their they being elected as DCs? Because I feel that in a way, the people might think this DCE will be working in the interest of a particular group of people affiliated to their political party. What do you think of this? Should neutral people be elected or people that are already affiliated to political parties?
Currently, what we have, is that not the same thing that we are doing, my sister? You see, the government, every government in power has 30% of the assemblies, those appointed members who are supposed to be part of the assembly, the elected assembly members. And what we normally see is that every government in power send the 30% to the assemblies from their own political parties. The 30%, even per law, these 30% appointment you must do it in consultation with the other interest groups within the district, including chiefs. But when you even go to Nananum or the chiefs, that we need somebody or representative from your outfit to be member of the assembly as an appointed member of the assembly. Even Nananum will not send somebody who is not aligned with or doesn't believe in the ideals or the politics of the government in power. They know, they are aware. So currently what we are doing is the same thing, only that we are behaving as ostriches. As usual, Ghanaians, we will say this in public, but when we go in private, we do a different thing altogether. So currently, as we have it, that is the same thing.
Right.
Even the 30% appointees, they are coming from the political parties that is in power. If your government is not in power, sometimes people who are, excuse me to say, cleaners at the party head of party office and all that, they are sent to the assemblies. Immediately after elections of the assembly members, you hear political parties, those in power, they are fighting over the appointment to the assemblies as government appointments. So that is what is happening.
Right, thank you. Mr. Bediako, let's touch on this too, because I believe it's very relevant to the conversation. The involvement of traditional authorities and governance at the local levels. More often than not, there have been concerns about how sometimes there are rifts or disagreements or turf wars between the traditional setting and then, the establishment at the local levels. How can we create that kind of synergy so that the chiefs, for example, do not feel sidelined and alienated, and also the MMDCs do not also feel threatened by the authorities of the traditional, paramounts? Because more often than not, yes, there are stories in that regard, how that one of the two wants to take the center stage. How can we resolve that in moving forward?
It's about amendment to the laws that we have. The Local Governance Act, the 936/2016 as amended, is clear. The role of chiefs, it is there. And even if you look at our constitution, it is also the role of chief. You cannot develop any district or you cannot work with the local authority without the involvement of the chiefs. It is about engagement. Because most of the time you know that you understand that people do not understand the system. That is where the problem is. So when you are able to work hand in hand with the chiefs and you are able to explain the system, you are able to explain what the law says, and if we all agree that this is the way to go, I hope we are going to amend some of the portions of the law, the Local Governance Act, and even the Constitution, and all the laws that governs our decentralization. And we will saw the opinion of Nananom or the chiefs. They will come on board. They will also introduce whatever they think will help the system to work. And it is always about consultation. If you want to do it without Nananom, definitely you are going to have challenges. But if you are able to do it with Nananom, I've even proposed that, you see, why is it that we don't have a lot of women to our local level elections? That they are not involved or they are not interested because of the kind of politics that we do. So I've been thinking that I've proposed that, okay, if we are going to have the election of MMDCEs on partisan, let us make law to guide these political parties. All the political parties make sure about 30% at their stronghold should be given, should be reserved for women. And we can get a lot of women to our local level. But when we leave it at this, the men will always bully the women and they will not have the opportunity to get into the assemblies. Same as
Mr. Bediako, Mr. Bediako, don't you think involving the chiefs is rather going to bring conflict of interest and serious risk?
No. It is, as I said, it is about the law. How we, all of us, those of you in the media, let us all come together. Okay, this is the way to go. This is what the law says. If we propose, we have members of parliament. So the question I always ask myself, why is it that the members of parliament do not have challenges with some of these chiefs, but always about the assemblies? Because the assemblies are always with the people at the local level. Whenever they need anything, whatever they need is the assembly that they will first of all go to. So if we integrate whatever they have, if we ask them to be part of the system that we are practicing, definitely they are also human beings, they understand the system, and they will go by that. If we leave it as it stands now, people do not understand the system, and that is why they always have problems with the local authorities.
So you do not foresee that the clash that we anticipated. Still on this particular beat, let's now talk about internally generated funds. There have been concerns about how that when it comes to the mobilization of IGFs, there are poorer structures which therefore do not help the governance structures at the local level to thrive financially. What sustainable means do you think can be incorporated in the mobilization of IGFs to supplement what, of course, comes from the broader national basket?
Yeah, there is currently, I know, the previous administration, there was a bill that the finance minister, together with the local government minister, Honorable Dambutri, they were working with. I don't know if it is still in Parliament. It is called the Local Authorities Financing Bill. I don't know if it is still in Parliament. I think that is the way to go. We should make the assemblies autonomous. As we speak, per law, no assembly in Ghana can borrow more than 2,500 Ghana cedis. But when we have this bill, definitely the assemblies will be in a position, if you have the resources that will enable you to borrow from other areas so that you can pay. I think if you're able to empower the assemblies with that law, and the assemblies are able to, most of the assemblies can generate a lot. And they will have the opportunity to go into the market to raise bonds. And if they are able to do that, most of the assemblies have the capacity to pay it back. Not from the central government. Most of the assemblies have the capacity. Can you talk of KMA, AMA, and other assemblies that will go to the market, that we want to raise bonds, and they cannot get it? They can get it. So that law must be passed. And if they are able to raise a lot of resources, that will add up to their internally generated fund, and they can use it to do a lot. So that maybe we can freeze some of the central government resources and give it to the assemblies that do not have the capacity to generate a lot as compared to others. And I think that law must be passed. And if you're able to pass it and give the assemblies the opportunity to go to the market to raise their own bonds, I think that would be fantastic.
Right. Two very important issues, and I do not want to lose sight of them. The very first one has gotten to do with moral decadence. More often than not, I mean, when we hear stories of a teenage pregnancy or stories of, wild murder cases, usually we hear them in, for the want of a better word, the rural, enclaves. And it's become a worry, it's become a concern. It appears that that part of our country or that part of our governance, cortex is always the place that gives us these unfortunate stories about how, somebody has gone to butcher somebody with a cutlass, somebody's wife has gone to do something, all those gory stories. Is it the case that because maybe those places do not have so much spotlight, it becomes a breeding place for all sorts of immoral and, unfortunate acts? Is it because there is the lack of spotlight, or really it is because we see and hear some of these stories because, they are cut away from the broader society, therefore they have the leeway to do what they want to do? Why do we keep seeing some of these, unfortunate developments in the rural enclaves more than the capital cities and the urbanized developments?
You see, the issue is that most of the issues that you spoke about, I think all the assemblies have bylaws that they are supposed to implement to deal with some of these social vices, unlike the murder cases that is always criminal aspect that we give to the police and all those kind of things. But some of the social vices, the assemblies have bylaws that the assemblies are passed from the local level, and they can use it to deal with some of these things. But the murder cases, as you said, the police is always there. The issue that we have at the local level is that we don't have enough security. Sometimes you go to the police and you request for men to your assembly. They will look at the issues that are peculiar to that assembly or that local level before they can grant you, okay, let us send about 60, 50 police to this district also. But it is about the security that is not enough in this country. And those things, you will find it very difficult that you are going to blame any district or any district chief executive for those issues. It is security issue, despite the fact that the MMDCEs are heads of security, but the larger society or the larger picture is always with the police and the other security agencies. But if the IGP tells you, your district, we don't have a lot of challenges in terms of security, so we are giving you about 20 or 30 policemen or 15 policemen. That one, there's nothing that you can do. So okay. It goes back to the lack of security that we have in the country. It's not only peculiar to the assemblies alone. Right.
So still on that tangent, because of the lack of security personnel for effective deployment, should we then begin to consider community policing more actively, where we actually look at community watchdogs, young people, for example, in these localities being empowered, backed, tooled, and equipped to play security functions? Is that a proposition you think we can consider?
Oh yeah, it's good. Most of the assemblies or most of the districts they are implementing some of these things, and I think they always do it in collaboration with the security agencies. You can sit in your community, then you say, I have formed a watchdog committee without the knowledge of the district police commander or even the security agencies within there, because sometimes people also use it to do other things that are unnecessary and become very difficult to control. And that's why always when you want to form these watchdog committees within your district, you need to do it in collaboration with the police. And I think most of the assemblies are doing it, but they're very difficult to resource them because sometimes it becomes very difficult to get the resources to these watchdog committees. Better sometimes, as I said, that they always also support such committees, and I think some of the assemblies are implementing it, and it's helping a lot.
Before we continue, I want to just be very imaginary. This is a very hypothetical question. So, rural-urban migration, it's been happening consistently because there is a disconnect between the development at the, in urbanized settlements, the capital and all of that, compared to what we see in the rural localities. If today, for example, there was a directive, there was an instruction that, look, everybody should go to their hometown. Let's assume there's a policy directive like that. All of us are supposed to return to where we were actually born and then go and make meaning of life there. If there was a policy carved in that nature, people should stay where they were born, make sure that they don't move to the capital. What do you think would be the outcome or the general response? Is this something that we must begin to maybe tinker with? Because really, all the time, everybody wants to come to Accra, everybody wants to go to the bigger cities, Kumasi, Takoradi, and all of that. Is it feasible for us to have a certain developmental framework where, look, everybody stays home, we develop locally? Is it something that is ever possible? And I'm saying this is only hypothetical.
Yeah, it is our jobs, Pakwasi. It's our jobs. If we want to pass laws that will not allow the youth to move to the centers. So the question we ask ourselves is that have we created jobs in those areas that the youth can also have access to? So the possible question is that it's about jobs. If we are able to create jobs in those rural areas, I don't think anybody, before the person will move to other Kumasi or Accra, maybe the person is going to do something and come back to his community to work. But the larger picture, or what we see at the local level, that we don't have jobs. So if you're able to create jobs for the youth at the local level, I don't think they will fancy moving from the rural communities to the urban areas. So it is about jobs. We ask our governments, have we created a lot of jobs at the local level so that the youth can get access to jobs? And if you're able to do that, I don't think there will be even a need to pass a law banning the youth from going to the big cities to look for jobs. It is about jobs.
Mr. Bediako, don't you think, quick one, just before, Zainab has a question for you, but just a follow-up. Don't you think beyond jobs, it could also be an issue of modernization in the sense that, yes, most of the rural enclaves are not so sophisticated in terms of development. They don't have like the vibe of life. They are not places you want to really, stay. So that even if we had jobs, there is now something else to do with.
You see, the modernization, as I said, the person might be going to the big city, and definitely because the person has a job at the local level, the person will not stay there. So if it's about modernization, okay, let me go to Accra or Kumasi to see what is happening there. 2-3 days, the person will come back to his community to come and work. But if the job is not there, because if you ask the youth who have moved from our rural areas to the urban areas, they tell you there isn't being jobs. So they will not tell you because of urbanization. They will tell you we are going to look for jobs. So if they have jobs at the local level, definitely the person will even move to the city. But 3 days, 4 days, the person will come back to the community.
Right. So Mr. Bediako, per what you just deliberated on, what are your recommendations? What do you think government should do to improve employment in those rural areas? Right. And apart from the common fund, what else do you think can improve the issue of unemployment?
You see, we need to empower the assemblies. Let's empower the assemblies. Let them get their independence. They should not be controlled from the central government. And some of the assemblies have potential to create jobs. But because they don't have the capacity, it becomes a challenge. For example, as we are talking about the common fund, as you mentioned, if we are able to send about 80% or the 90% of the common, because the law is clear. Government is supposed to generate revenue. And the law says that if that revenue is generated, not less than 5% of that revenue should be sent to the assemblies. But what you see is that the government over the years are not supposed, they are not willing to do that because we don't want to empower the assemblies. If we are able to empower the assemblies, then some of the assemblies have the potential to create jobs. But the capacity to create the jobs is not there. If they have, as I said, we are able to empower them, we are able to give them the law that will enable them to go into the international market to raise bonds so that as in the form of loans, they can use some of these things, and even some of the companies will be willing to go and work at the local level on the basis that if we are able to do this, at the end of the day, we will get our money back. And they can do it. But central government over the years have decided not to empower the assemblies, not to give them the financial independence for them to work as required by law.
But Mr. Bediako, if government grants the local government's power to operate independently, don't you think it will cause lack of transparency and abuse of power? Don't you think so?
No. The laws are very clear. When we make amendment to the Local Governance Act, the 936 or whatever law that we want to amend, I mean, the assemblies, we are not saying when we have these people or the MMDCEs elected, the audit service will not continue to work as audit service. The assemblies are audited. We have internal auditors at the assembly, and external auditors every year at the end of the year will also come and look at the books of the assemblies, monies sent to the assemblies, monies generated internally, how you have used them. Because you cannot sit that because we have these people elected, the internal audit service will collapse, or the external auditors will not come and audit the assemblies. So the abuse will not be there. Even if it is there, it will be minimized. And that we cannot use that system to make sure, to say, because of this and that, the assemblies will abuse their powers. And no, you can't do that. The systems are there, and the system will completely check you.
Mr. Bediako, I wanted to now talk about one of the issues that has become clearly very prominent in at the local level, I should say, the issue of illegal mining. And I'm saying it's one that is now a national crisis and very prominent in the various localities. We've spoken about unemployment and how that is an incentive for all sorts of social vices, but particularly on the matter of illegal mining, it appears, some have raised the concerns that it has really become prominent because of the complicity of the traditional authorities, some traditional authorities, we should say, who actually enable the act. If still within the framework of decentralization, if we are going to tackle a matter like illegal mining, what do you think should be the way forward?
I have said this time and time. You see, let's get the local people involved. If we get the local people involved in this mining activities, I can tell you we have solved about 70% of the illegal mining. But when we have a community, there is no way that somebody moving from Accra or Kumasi to my municipality will just get into the community and begin to mine. It will not happen. It will not happen, and it will not work in that way. It is the local people who will always give their lands to these people. Why are we not involving the local people all the time? But somebody will sit in Accra thinking that when you get to my municipality, Jamaica South, you are going to have it. You see, there is a community in my municipality. It is called Atuna. We have a lot of gold there. My municipality, we have a lot of gold. What happens is that when these mining companies will want to mine in your municipality, the first of all, Minerals Commission will write to you as an MC or DC that we have given this concession to the people. Inform Nananum of that community whether they will agree or they will not agree. So you have no option. Write to Nananum that this area, Minerals Commission says that they have given this concession to this person to come and mine. Quickly, Nananum will write to you as an MC that write back to Minerals Commission that we either agree or we don't agree. And my municipality, everywhere, the 4 years that I was in office, wherever you write to Nananum in those communities, because they know what the guarantee will cause them. You write to them and they will tell you, please, write back to Minerals Commission that we will not agree. And as we speak, my municipality, you can never go there and do any mining there. So the queen mother of that community, as I mentioned, when there was a mining company that wanted to, because they have a concession there in Atuna, they wanted to go and mine. But the community people, together with the Queen Mother, said, our area here never, and up to date, nobody was able to mine in that community. You can't. But if you don't involve the local people and thinking that you always sit in Accra and manipulate the system to our advantage, other Minerals Commission or Government of Ghana, please. That is where, when the people realize that, okay, people are coming from Accra to mine in our area, there is gold here, we also make sure we do it. And before we say Jack, you see that the whole land is destroyed. So let us always involve the local people. We shouldn't be thinking, sitting in Accra and thinking that we have all the knowledge and we can manipulate the system to our advantage. The people will resist it. If they will not resist, they will also get themselves involved. And before we say that, the whole system is collapsed.
Mr. Bediako, per what you said, you need to write to Nananom, and the DCs, together with Nananom, has to approve, give you the mandate to mine. But what has actually changed? Because over the years, we've recorded overwhelming number of illegal mining in most of our rural areas. What has actually changed the story? Because if that is the case of passing through the right channel, as in meeting the leaders of the area before you able to mine, the local government, the local, yes. What has actually changed? Because we still don't get the whole story behind illegal mining.
You see, if there's any illegal mining going on in your municipality and you are a DC or an MC and you tell me you have no idea about it, I will just look at your face and laugh. It's never true. It can never be possible that there is an illegal mining going on in your municipality or your district, and as a head of security, you tell me you are not aware.
So it means Nananom and the MCs and DCs are actually giving them that power to operate.
Exactly. Exactly, my sister. Because you cannot tell me my community, there is mining going on as a chief, and I will tell you I'm not aware. Who gave the land to the people? Because Nananom always have, though the land per law is for the government of Ghana, but Nananom are in charge. When you get to every community, every family has their own land. Is that not what we have in Ghana? So if there is a mining going on in my community, and for that matter, even on my land, and you tell me you are not aware, it can never be true, my sister. It can never be true.
Why is government not holding them responsible?
It is politics as usual. It is politics. MPP is in power, and MPP people are involved. NDC is in power, and NDC people are involved. When you charge them, you see, the aim of every politician is to maximize votes. And these people who are doing the illegal mining, they are your party people. When you charge them, the narrative is that we vote against you. Just look at what happened in 2020, all the mining communities. Because the then president decided that I'll fight mining. This party lost all those areas. And you think what is the reason?
But don't you think the current government is actually trying its best to curb the menace? Because in the previous administration, we witnessed the situation where the doctor, I've forgotten his name. Yes, the professor actually came out with a whole report, which was eventually thrown in the mud because they felt that report was vague. But this current government, if you should, see what is going on in the country, we have NAMOS, we have anti-galamsey operators, people trying to fight the menace. What do you also think of this, as compared to the previous administration and this current administration?
Every government has tried their best to fight galamsey. But if you are not getting support from the local people, not even your party people, you'll find it very difficult to fight galamsey. Government is doing enough, or government is doing its best to say. But we still have galamsey ongoing. Most of the things that the current government is doing, I think the previous government also formed anti-galamsey task force and all those kind of things. if you read the same Frempong Boateng report, it is also captured there. But it's very difficult because this is where people get their livelihood. This is where people get money. And where people get money from, stopping it at once becomes a very challenging. It becomes very difficult. And I think government is doing enough, but we need to, all of us, Nananum, the assembly members, the MMDCEs, but currently we have heard some MMDCEs who are also involved in Galamsey. Why do you think they are also involved in Galamsey? And government, we have seen videos of people, party people chasing soldiers here and there. And that is the problem. That is the challenge that we have at the local level. That's why I said, if we are unable to engage the local people, if we are unable to involve the local people, let them be part of the system. Let them know that they are part of the system. They are part of the solution. And if you are able to do that, definitely they will help you. But as it stands now, because that's where people get their livelihoods from, and that is where people get money from, it becomes very difficult for government to fight Galamsey at a go. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. Government is doing something.
Right. Mr. Bediako, again, you mentioned that mining at the local, in the rural areas should be given to the locals. And I want to believe that is why government currently is rolling out in phases the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, COMSDEP. Now, for a program like this, what do you think are the immediate challenges? So previously, there existed community mining, the community mining schemes, but now all of those are being phased out into the creation of cooperatives. What are the immediate challenges that you foresee with this particular arrangement?
You see, the challenge has been what I said earlier on about the involvement of the local people. You see, the community mining, as you said, 3 days or last week, I was driving to Sumiani, and there was a community mining on one of the communities along the Sumiani-Kumasi road. I think Fawoman or something like that. So I stopped and I asked some of the people, are the people still doing that community mining? And they told me, no, they have stopped. Yeah. I asked the person, why? And they said government policy and all those kind of things. So when you are doing that and you engage the people, I know, let us explain the issues to the people. Let them understand that this is the policy of government. And government is doing this to help you, for those of you who do not have jobs, to have jobs, so that we'll protect the environment. But if you don't do that, we send people from Accra, then we go and give the concession to them. Go and do it. And let the people also have the feeling that somebody coming from somewhere is coming to take their land. That is where the challenge is. So let government always involve the people, as I said. When we involve the local people, those who are willing to be employ them, let them work, pay them, educate them, let them know the need, why government is doing all those things, so that the benefits, as they also have the opportunity to get it. If you don't do that and you want to impose it on the people, definitely you fail. Right.
Still on the cooperative mining program, COMSDEP, being implemented by government, there are other aspects of the program that focus on skill development, such as hairdressing and all the other relevant skills that could help young people make a living. Do you think initiatives of that nature can prosper in the rural areas, especially where Galamsey happens? Because the conversation has been that Galamsey is fruitful, it's more rewarding. I mean, when people say that when they go to the mining sites, they're able to make a lot of money. But now there is an arrangement to take all of that out and then bring in skill development programs that also will give them an economic livelihood. From where you sit, based on your experiences having interacted with local folks for a very long time, do you think programs of this nature would ever, at any point, see the light of day?
Oh, yeah. I think it will go a long way to help the local people. Because, you see, most of the time, those people who go to these mining sites are the men. Hardly do you see the women involved, but sometimes you see them involved, and you look at the nature of work that they are doing at those sites, it's not pleasant. But when we're able to create that avenue, if the man is not even in the house, the woman will also get something doing in the house, either being a hairdresser or a seamstress and other things that they are able to. So I think if government is able to implement it to the latter, we give them support. You don't train them and leave them just like that. You train them, give them the necessary resources so that they can work with.
Right.
Okay, all right. Mr. Bediako, what are your final words? What are your takeaways? What would you want to share with the general public?
Yeah, one, I am all for the election of MMDCEs, and I think even Afro Barometer survey, CDD survey, IDEX survey, everything points to the fact that Ghanaians, that's the way we want our assemblies being implemented. We have to have our local representatives elected. And some of us, we are served for the election of MMDCEs based on the partisanship. Because if we look at the 2010 Professor Moore's white paper on the Constitutional Review Commission, he indicated that when we want to have them elected, we should the president will elect or nominate 5 people to Public Service Commission for interview, then bring 3 people to the local level for them to be voted on. If you do that, it's still partisanship. There is no sitting president that will nominate 5 people, and those 5 people will not come from his political party. It will not happen. So it is still partisanship. So we should not pretend, we should not behave as ostriches that we want to have our MMDCEs elected, but they are not on partisanship. If we want to do that, as we are talking about the assembly members' elections, as we have currently, both MPP and NDC have their people elected at the electoral area before they face the people for the general elections. So we will pretend that if we want to have MMDCEs elected, and it will not be on partisanship. The MPP and NDC will never have elections in this country that they will not get themselves involved. It will never happen. We should not behave. So election of MMDCEs on partisanship, and it will take away all this winner takes all from this country. Immediately after elections, you will see party people chasing people at the local level, chasing toilets, excuse my language, this morning, chasing toll booths. What do you think are the reasons? It is the winner takes all. But when we have other political parties, I can assure you, if we have MMDCEs elected, even PNC will have MMDCEs in some areas. CPP will have MMDCEs in some areas. And this winner takes all that we always talk about, it will be eliminated. And the MMDCEs will be responsible to the local people instead of always to the central government. President can wake up in the morning and tell you this MC or DC fired him, and he has nothing to explain to you. But if the person is elected, I think the possibility for them being responsible and accountable to the local people will be very high, but not the president. And we should give financial autonomy to the assemblies.
Right.
Let them have the opportunity to go to the financial market to borrow on their books.
Right.
If they are able to do that, they will have resources.
Thank you.
To run the various assemblies. As it stands now, no assembly can borrow more than 2,500 Ghana cedis. I mean,
thank you very much, Mr. Bediako, for having you on our show this morning. You're very grateful.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Okay, so that was Mr. Anthony Bediako, local government expert. Andrew Bediako, a local government expert, and the former MC, German South. We take a break.